Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Brooke, Lynn and Chase arrive at the sanitarium, and Portia addresses to them and the rest of the family. Britt interjects and explains that Ned had a widowmaker heart attack and needs to be operated on immediately. Portia pulls Britt away and tells her she's out of line and not authorized to treat cases. Jason intervenes and suggests Britt step out with him for air, and that they stay at Bobby's until they hear commodity. Britt says she'll meet him outdoors and storms out. Meanwhile, Emma tells the family how Gio jumped in to help, and Brooke Lynn is touched when Gio refers to Ned as Grandpa. Jason and Britt head to Bobby's, and she rants that she hates her job, her room above this restaurant, and Jason forcing her to come back then. Jason is thankful she's then, and he bets Ned is too. He appreciates what she did for Ned moment and says she's a good person, which she tries to deny. Will Ned make it? At the sanitarium, Portia confirms Ned has a complete blockage and needs bypass surgery, and he's being taken to the OR as they speak. Meanwhile, Gio tells Emma that he'd a great discussion with Ned before, and he wasted so important time keeping him at arm's length when he did nothing wrong. Emma tells him that Ned gave him the space he demanded to work effects out, and she knows Ned is fighting to come back to him and his family. Brooke Lynn expresses her fears about losing her pater to Chase. Chase assures her that Ned wouldn't go anywhere without a fight, and they embrace. What's passing at PCU? At the PCU theater, Ezra tries to goad Laura before the debate, saying her relationship with Sonny will be her downfall. Ezra walks off, and Martin approaches his family. He knows he meddled up, which is why he's then to support her. Laura fills him in on Anna's exposure, which Ezra is going to use against her, along with Sonny's son Dante being named acting manager. Martin tells her that she needs to defend her decision grounded on the data, but Laura is also concerned that Rocco might get caught in the crossfire as Sonny's grandson. Martin admires her integrity and says that's why she's so popular with her ingredients. He says Ezra slinging slush will make the chooser's choice that much easier. He has to leave to meet Alexis, but says he'll be lodging for her. What's in Dalton's lab? Charlotte, Rocco, and Danny decide to go ahead with Emma's plan and break into the lab. Once outside, they turn on the lights and are stupefied to find that there are no creatures, just a lab filled with computers and other machines. Danny thinks Emma got it all wrong, but Charlotte suggests they look for any substantiation that Dalton has been testing on creatures. They find nothing, and as they go to leave, they're forced to hide when Dalton enters the lab. Dalton starts getting to work, but hears someone in the lab, and Rocco reveals himself. Danny and Charlotte remain retired in another part of the lab, and Dalton asks what he's doing then. Rocco says he's then to prove he's performing tests on creatures, but Dalton says there are no creatures then. Dalton recognizes Rocco as Laura's grandson, grabs him, and drags him out of the lab. Alone, Charlotte tells Danny that Rocco just offered himself for them, and now he's in a world of trouble. Danny says he knows who can help them, and they take off. What does Drew want from Alexis now? Drew drops by Alexis' office and is pleased she got Willow out on bail. He wants to talk strategy, and if Alexis plans to interlace Michael in court. Alexis tells him she intends to call out everyone who could have shot him. Drew only wants her to concentrate on Michael, but Alexis says her job is to do anything it takes to get Willow acquitted. Drew informs her that he's asked Martin to be her co-counsel, which doesn't please the council. Alexis tells Drew that if he keeps pushing this Michael docket, Willow could veritably well end up in captivity. Conflict at the Metro Court auditoriums. At the Metro Court auditoriums, Willow is stupefied to see Michael and Wiley with Jacinda. Wiley runs over and hugs his mama and also drags her over to his pater. And Jacinda. Willow learns of Jacinda's new job with Nina and assumes Michael had commodity to do with that. Michael suggests to Wiley that it's late and they need to get home. Wiley says farewell to his mama, who he's been bothered about, and she promises him that she's no way going down again. Wiley tells his pater that he wants Jacinda to come back to their house and see his stuffed spider. As they try and walk out, Willow pulls Michael away and tells him that she knows he framed her, and she and Alexis will prove it. Michael simply walks down from her. Drew arrives laterally when Willow calls him, and she cries to him that Michael was then acting like a pseudo-family with Wiley and Jacinda. She no way allowed. Michael would expose their son to a coitus worker. Drew says it's further apparent than ever that Michael does enter in custody. Martin and Alexis talk strategy. Martin stops by Alexis' office, and she tells him that Drew is obsessed with laying the blame for his firing on Michael, which is bad for Willow's case. She wants to put all the suspects out there, which puts the PCPD on trial for failing to follow up on other suspects. He says it's a good plan, so she asks him to tell that to his boss. In the Quartermain kitchen, Michael addresses with Jacinda after putting Wiley to bed. She thinks their being together could hurt his image, but Michael doesn't care. He gets worked up raving about Willow, but calms himself down and knows he has to keep his countenance on the stage. He also needs her to be suitable to give him within watertight justification, and if what will be a problem for her. In the show's final moments. At the sanitarium, Brooklyn knows she needs to thank Britt for helping her pater. But Lulu says Gio also deserves credit, as he was performing CPR on Ned and made all the difference, according to Britt. Brooklyn looks over at Gio, who's with Emma, and mouths, "Thank you." He smiles and nods at her. In Alexis' office, Martin warns her that if she fails to exculpate Willow, there will be hell to pay from Drew. At the Metro Court, Drew tells Willow they will use Michael's bad judgment against him, and once she's vindicated, it'll be Michael who ends up in captivity. In the QS kitchen, Michael asks Jacinda if there's anyone who can claim they were together that night. She insists she was in her hostel alone when she left him. He appreciates what she's doing for him, takes her hand, and kisses it. In the PCU theater, Laura tries to move Ezra to debate the issue tonight rather than fastening on their particular lives. Ezra says his life is beyond reproach, which she doubts. At Bobby's, Danny and Charlotte arrive and find Britt and Jason, and tell them about breaking into the lab and Rocco being caught. Back at PCU, Dalton arrives with Rocco and demands that lot security arrest him for breaking into his lab. Laura is affrighted, and Ezra smiles. In the sprawling, interconnected universe of Port Charles, life's most profound moments rarely occur in isolation. A single event, a medical crisis, a political gambit, a child's reckless act, sends shockwaves through the community, forcing each resident into their own personal crucible. The recent episodes, culminating in a night of high-stakes drama, have served as a collective baptism for its characters. For some, this baptism is one of fire, thrusting them into situations that test their courage and morality. For others, it is a baptism of responsibility, demanding they confront the consequences of their actions and the weight of their legacies. Through it all, the air is thick with a potent mix of encouraging words, whispered in love and solidarity, and angry threats, hissed in power and fear. This is the story of a city, and its people, being remade under immense pressure. The hospital vigil, a baptism of crisis and competence. The emergency at General Hospital serves as the episode's emotional anchor, a stark reminder of mortality amidst the swirling machinations of Port Charles's power players. The frantic arrival of Brooklyn Quartermain and Harrison Chase sets the tone, a family on the brink of collapse. Here, the first of many baptisms begins. Britt Westbourne, the unwilling savior. Dr. Britt Westbourne finds herself in a role she often resists, the capable hero. Her interjection into the family's panic is a masterclass in professional urgency. By identifying Ned's condition as a widowmaker heart attack and insisting on immediate surgery, she acts with a clarity that cuts through the emotional chaos. This moment is a baptism of purpose for Britt, a forced immersion back into a world of life and death consequences she has tried to distance herself from. However, her re-entry is met with immediate friction. Portia Robinson, embodying institutional protocol and perhaps a touch of professional jealousy, pulls her aside to reprimand her, declaring her out of line and not authorized. This public dressing down is more than a professional dispute, it is an angry threat aimed at Britt's already fragile sense of belonging. It threatens to relegate her to the sidelines, reinforcing the narrative of the outsider, the disgraced doctor, the problematic Westbourne. Jason Morgan's intervention is the pivotal counterpoint. He does not engage in the bureaucratic squabble. Instead, he offers a quiet, strategic retreat. His suggestion to step out for air and wait at Bobby's is not a dismissal of her skills, but a protection of her spirit. He recognizes the futility of the fight with Portia and removes her from a toxic environment. At Bobby's, Britt's emotional dam breaks. She rants, not just about the immediate injustice, but about the totality of her discontent, her job, her cramped room, the very fact that Jason forced her back to this life. This torrent of frustration is the raw, unvarnished truth of a woman feeling trapped by her own competencies. Jason's response is not an argument but a quiet affirmation. His gratitude is simple, profound, and undeniable. I'm grateful you're here. I bet Ned is, too. In calling her a good person, he directly challenges the core of her self-loathing. He holds up a mirror that reflects not the daughter of Caesar Phazon or the scheming rival, but the woman who just saved a life. This is the most powerful form of encouraging words, one that sees past a person's own destructive self-perception and affirms their inherent value. For Britt, this moment at Bobby's is a baptism of validation, a reluctant acknowledgement that her presence, her skills, and her heart matter. Geo and the Quartermain embrace. While Britt contends with external threats, another baptism of belonging is quietly taking place in the hospital waiting room. Geo Palmieri, long resistant to the overwhelming force of the Quartermain family, finds himself fully immersed in its drama. Emma's recounting of how Geo jumped in to help positions him not as an outsider, but as a first responder, a crucial part of the rescue effort. The true turning point, however, is his unconscious use of the word grandpa when referring to Ned. This isn't a strategic play, it's an emotional slip that reveals his subconscious acceptance of a familial bond. His subsequent confession to Emma, that he wasted time keeping Ned at arm's length, is a moment of profound personal clarity. He is being baptized into the family not by blood, but by choice and crisis. Emma's encouraging words provide the absolution he seeks. She reframes Ned's distance not as rejection, but as a gift of space, a patient love waiting for him to work things out. This reframing allows Geo to release his guilt and fully embrace the hope that Ned will fight to return to him. Brooklyn's silent, tearful thank you from across the room is the final, unspoken welcome into the Quartermain fold, a baptism complete. Chase and Brooklyn, a fortress of two. Amidst the familial chaos, the bond between Brooklyn and Chase becomes a sanctuary. Her expression of terror, the primal fear of losing a parent, is met not with hollow platitudes but with Chase's steadfast certainty. His assurance that Ned won't go anywhere without a fight is more than encouragement, it is a statement of faith in Ned Quartermain's indomitable spirit. In this embrace, they create a fortress of two, their love serving as a bulwark against the terrifying uncertainty. This is a baptism of shared burden, solidifying their partnership as a source of immense strength. The political arena, a baptism of fire and mud. Simultaneously, at PCU, Mayor Laura Collins is undergoing a very public baptism by fire. The mayoral debate is not merely a political event, it is a battlefield where her personal and professional lives are about to be brutally conjoined. Ezra's pre-debate goading is a classic angry threat, dressed in political language but aimed squarely at her vulnerabilities. His promise to weaponize her relationship with Sunny is a direct assault on her integrity, attempting to paint her as corrupt by association. This is the foundational thread of her political opposition, that her compassion and complex alliances are a weakness to be exploited. The arrival of her brother, Martin Gray, offers a brief respite. His admission that he messed up and his presence to support her is a significant moment of familial reconciliation. Their conversation reveals the multi-front war Laura is fighting. Not only must she contend with Ezra, but she is also grappling with the mysterious disappearance of Anna Devane, another crisis Ezra will eagerly exploit, and the appointment of her grandson, Dante, as acting commissioner. Her deepest fear, that her grandson Rocco will be caught in the crossfire as Sunny's grandson, reveals the immense personal cost of her public life. She isn't just defending a policy platform, she is defending her family. Martin's role here is to be the voice of strategic encouragement. He pulls her back from the emotional brink, advising her to defend her decision based on the facts. His belief that her integrity is her greatest strength, and that Ezra's mudslinging will ultimately backfire, is the pep talk she needs before stepping into the arena. He reframes the conflict. This is not just a political contest, but a moral one, a choice between her proven character and Ezra's hollow reproach. This encouragement steels her for the battle to come, a baptism in the harsh court of public opinion. The lab break-in, a baptism of innocence lost. While adults grapple with medical and political crises, the next generation is undergoing its own harrowing baptism into the dark underbelly of Port Charles. The break-in at Professor Dalton's lab, conceived with the noble, if naive, intention of exposing animal testing, becomes a crucible that shatters their innocence. The discovery that the lab contains not animals, but a sophisticated array of computers and machinery, is their first chilling clue that the world is not as it seems. Their mission, born of black and white morality, instantly plunges them into a landscape of gray. Emma's information was wrong. They are not animal rights activists, but unwitting intruders in a conspiracy they cannot possibly understand. The arrival of Professor Dalton transforms the adventure into a nightmare. In the moment of crisis, Rocco Falconeri makes a conscious, self-sacrificial choice. By revealing himself, he draws Dalton's ire, allowing Danny and Charlotte to remain hidden. This is Rocco's baptism into the Quartermaine-Cassadine legacy of dramatic, costly heroism. He accepts the consequences to protect his friends. Dalton's reaction, recognizing him as Laura's grandson and angrily dragging him from the lab, is laced with sinister implication. This is not merely the anger of a professor catching a trespassing student, it is the cold, calculating response of a man whose secret work has been compromised. His demand for Rocco's arrest is an angry threat aimed not just at a teenager, but at the mayor herself. The final scene of this storyline, with a horrified Laura and a smugly smiling Ezra, perfectly captures the collision of these two worlds. A child's reckless act has become the catalyst for a political and personal explosion, baptizing the entire family in scandal. The legal and personal wars, baptisms of vengeance and complicity. Beyond the hospital and the campus, other baptisms are unfolding in offices and gardens, each centered on the escalating war between Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate. Drew and Alexis, a clash of strategies. Drew Kane's visit to Alexis Davis is a study in obsessive vengeance. His pleasure at Willow's bail is quickly overshadowed by his singular focus, implicating Michael in court. He is no longer seeking justice for his shooting, he is waging a personal war, and he expects his legal team to be a weapon. His announcement that he has hired Martin as co-counsel without her consent is a profound power play and an angry threat disguised as help. It tells Alexis that he does not trust her to pursue his vendetta with sufficient ruthlessness. Alexis, however, is undergoing a baptism of professional integrity. She pushes back, insisting her job is to do anything it takes to get Willow acquitted, which includes introducing multiple suspects and putting the PCPD's investigation on trial. Her warning to Drew is stark and prophetic. His tunnel vision could very well end up with Willow in prison. She understands that the law is a nuanced battlefield, not a bludgeon. Drew's desire for a scorched earth approach against Michael threatens to burn Willow in the conflagration. This conflict sets the stage for a legal battle not just against Michael, but within Willow's own defense team. The Metro Court, a baptism of cruelty. Willow's own baptism is one of brutal disillusionment. Her first moments of freedom are shattered by the sight of Michael, Wiley, and Jacinda presenting a twisted tableau of a happy family. Michael's manipulation is psychologically masterful and utterly cruel. By integrating Jacinda so seamlessly into Wiley's life, he makes Willow's worst fears a reality. She is being replaced. Her assumption that Michael engineered Jacinda's job with Nina is almost certainly correct, revealing the depth of his calculation. Her confrontation, where she declares, "I know you framed me," is a line in the sand. It is the moment she stops being a victim and becomes a warrior. Michael's silent walk away is the ultimate angry threat, a calm, dismissive assurance that he holds all the power and her defiance is meaningless. This rejection baptizes her in a new, hardened resolve. Drew's subsequent arrival and his vow that Michael will end up in prison provide the encouraging words that fuel her new purpose. They are no longer just fighting for custody or exoneration, they are fighting for annihilation. Michael and Jacinda, a baptism in darkness. In the Quartermain kitchen, Michael's baptism is one into full-blown villainy. His rant about Willow reveals a seething, uncontrolled rage that he must consciously calm down for the sake of his court performance. His request for an airtight alibi from Jacinda moves their relationship from a transactional arrangement into a criminal conspiracy. His question, if what will be a problem for her, is a thinly veiled threat. He is asking if anyone can contradict her story, forcing her to fully commit to perjury. His gesture of kissing her hand is not one of romance, but of sealing a pact. It is a gothic, mobster-like gesture that signifies her total enlistment into his war. Jacinda, in accepting this, is being baptized into the dark legacy of the Corinthos family, a world where love and threat are inextricably intertwined. Converging fates, the final moments. The episode's closing moments weave these disparate baptisms together, setting the stage for the next wave of crises. At the hospital, Brooke Lynn's acknowledgement of Gio completes his baptism into the family, while Lulu's credit of his CPR skills reinforces his heroism. Martin's warning to Alexis about hell to pay from Drew echoes the angry threat now looming over her own professional judgment. Drew's promise to Willow that Michael will be imprisoned sharpens the stakes of the legal battle. Michael's intimate moment with Jacinda solidifies their dangerous alliance. Laura's plea for a substantive debate with Ezra falls on deaf ears, highlighting the personal nature of the political attack to come.